You're listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
It is Wednesday, July 29th. It's middle of summer, close to winding down the end of summer, but there are a few more great things to... I know, start of school soon. Whatever that will look like this year. Well, whatever that may look like this year. Speaking of school, we are so grateful for the support of Concordia University, Wisconsin. Thank you for underwriting the coffee hour. Find out more about Concordia University, Wisconsin at cuw.edu.
Live uncommon.
Well, there are more opportunities to do some fun stuff and some learning this summer as well. And one thing that happens every summer are the Higher Things conferences for youth, which are just outstanding conferences. What does that look like this year? Joining us today, our friends from Higher Things, Erica Jacoby, Executive Director of Higher Things, and Crysten Sanchez, Events Executive for Higher Things. Thanks so much for joining us this morning, Erica.
Thanks for having us.
And good morning, Crysten. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Hey, good morning. Thank you.
So, Erica, give us the paint a picture of what is Higher Things. What is the aim of Higher Things today?
Well, the aim of Higher Things is we exist to pass on the faith by teaching the next generation the gospel of Jesus Christ. Simply that they are saved by grace alone, through faith alone, as revealed by Scripture alone.
Crysten, how do the Higher Things conferences that take place each summer do that, carry out that mission of Higher Things?
Yeah, well, really, all we're trying to do is to continue what's being done for the youth every Sunday that they're at church, at their own church. We don't try to do anything different than deliver them word, deliver them sacrament, teach them what has already been taught to them, sort of enrich that teaching, and do it in kind of this great time away, really heightened experience with each other in those few days, and really just to pass on what they've been doing the whole rest of the year, the whole rest of their lives.
So in past years, walk us through what a typical day in the life of a Higher Things conference attendee would look like.
Oh my goodness, we do so much. It runs over 4 days, a typical conference. And over that time, the youth will participate in 14 different worship services, 4 plenary sessions, which are like our mass teaching session on the theme of that year. And then they have the opportunity 6 different times to go to breakaway sessions, which are classes taught by really, we believe the best people to teach are the people that God has placed in their pulpits and in their congregations and their lives. And so it's the pastors who and lay leaders who attend the conferences are the breakaway teachers. And those breakaways range on things from, deep apologetic study to looking at the latest pop culture movie to, a deep dive into a book of the Bible. And they have 6 different opportunities throughout the week to choose, one of 15 different classes during that time. And then, of course, we've got a ton of fun and entertainment, and we do games and competitions amongst each other and talent shows and chalk art contests and just a ton of fun while they're all together. I mean, we run from 8 in the morning until 11 at night. And hopefully the kids get a little sleep in the middle there too. But, it's dorm rooms and cafeteria food and getting them excited for what college is going to be like, and allowing the adults and the pastors to remember a little bit of what college was like for them as well. So
no sleep.
It's a great
particularly
time.
The no sleep.
Right. Those dorm beds.
Yeah, there's some great memories from summer conferences, and it's a little bit like drinking from a fire hose if you've never been to one before, but in like the best way possible. There's so much that happens. Tell me also about the community that's built also when you go from your little church to this conference where there's all these other people who also believe the same things that you do. Tell me what that's like.
Well, that's it. I mean, you're used to, some of these kids are coming from not even youth groups, just their families, where like their family is what comprises the youth group, to realizing that there's hundreds and thousands of other people out there who are going through the same thing, wrestling with the same things, and coming out believing what they're believing, that same thing. And that just gives so much comfort and so much just help for them to move forward into everything else that they're dealing with too. So yeah, we want them to realize you're not alone going through this, and we're here to sort of apprentice you through what you're going through and teach you that what you've got here in the church, in the word and the sacrament, like this is stuff that's actually real for you and actually going to help you as you're dealing with what you're dealing with.
Each year, the Higher Things conferences have a theme. Erica, can you tell us about this year's theme?
Oh, sure. We love this year's theme. We love every year's theme, but particularly this year, it's called Watermarked, which is clearly pointing kids to their baptism. And again, we're going to be focusing in on their identity as a baptized child of God. I'm sure you're familiar with our tagline, which is "Dare to be Lutheran." And we reinforce that kind of every time we get together. And really, daring to be Lutheran means daring to believe this gospel is for you. And that's our Lutheran identity: is that we find our identity in Christ and His work for us, His salvation for us, His death, His resurrection. And so that's what we're going to be talking about.
So, Crysten, this summer looks a little bit different. It's certainly presented some challenges with a global pandemic and how we go about things. What does it look like this summer? How have you taken the Higher Things Conference to a new format?
Yeah, new format. We are so excited. Of course, everybody kind of went through the same thing as we were struggling and dealing with what was going on, especially March, April. Nobody really knew what was happening. But once we had a clear picture of what this summer was not going to look like, we realized that we could receive this as gift, and we could look at what we have and the ability to really throw all of our resources behind doing something that we've wanted to do for years and have just never had the availability of our resources to be able to do it. And so we were able to take all of that and really, I've used this word so many times in our planning, is pivot. And we've tried to figure out a way to create what we do in a way that the kids can do it, the youth can do it at their churches or at their homes or at a retreat of a camp if they want to do that as a congregation, and they can make it what they want to make it. And we're delivering them all the same goods that they would get in an in-person conference, but they can do it either at home in sweatpants while drinking coffee, or they can do it as a lock-in at church. And so we have our very first ever virtual conference, and it's running next Thursday and Friday, August 6th and 7th. And the great thing about it is that they're going to be able to participate in it live with us as it's being rolled out, so that they get that feel of community and conference and everything. But all the content for all the registrants is going to be available after the fact as well. So for the 2 breakaway sessions that we're offering, they don't have to just choose which breakaway session they're going to watch. They get to consume all of the content after the fact, and they'll end up having over 10 hours of content that they can take on whenever they want to and use for Bible study or use, however they choose. So we are so excited about how it's turning out. We can't wait to share it with our registrants.
Tell us more about how to register and what else is included in that registration fee.
Absolutely. So registration you can find just at higherthings.org/conferences. And if you scroll down, there will be a link to register right there on the webpage. And in that registration, they're going to get all of the content that is released during that conference. They're going to have 6 months to our brand new Higher Things only, moderated. We're calling it a social experience, kind of like a social media for Higher Things folks as well, which is going to allow the conference to really go on throughout the year. It doesn't have to stop this year because they can interact with each other. They can chat with each other. They can communicate with each other through there. And it's kind of, for parents, this brings comfort. It's a safe place for them to be able to do that. And so they've got that. They've got 3 plenary sessions included in this. They've got 15 breakaway sessions included in this. We've got some virtual choirs that we've brought up for this. We've got a virtual hymn sing. We've got worship that really it's going to be able to look how they choose it to look, right? We're providing a worship book, sermon videos, hymn videos, sermon manuscripts, sermon outlines if the pastor wants to take that, or the pastor can preach his own sermon. The organist can be at the bench if they want, or they can listen to our hymn videos. They can really make it look how they want to make it. And all of this is included in the registration fee. And and we've also got a couple of live events where they can interact with some Higher Things speakers as well. So
the lack of sleep or sleeping in a dorm bed is the part that I really miss about Higher Things conferences, said no one ever. So the first conference, and you hit it right at home when you said drinking coffee in your sweats. This is the coffee hour, and that's really what I'm doing right now. So speaking of, I forgot to ask everyone what coffee you're having this morning. I didn't go around the room and ask what you're having for the coffee hour, since we're all virtually all over the place. Who's drinking coffee this morning?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I am. Oh, certainly. Absolutely. It's un-Lutheran if we weren't, I would say.
Crysten, are you having coffee this morning?
I sure am. Yeah, it's a home Starbucks in my Higher Things coffee mug.
Mm-hmm. Appropriate.
So what are you having this morning? What coffee are you having?
I have some Aldi cold brew going on right now, actually.
Good, very good. Well, everybody's got their coffee, gearing up for the Higher Things conference. It's taking place just next week. Again, details, Crysten, we can find that at higherthings.org/conferences. Thank you so much, Crysten and Erica, for being with us today on the Coffee Hour. It's just been a pleasure to talk with you.
Thanks for having us.
The Lord be with you.
And also with you. Coming up in just a moment, we revisit a conversation we had back in March with Cheryl Swope, some quick tips on homeschooling. We thought those would be handy for you as you're preparing for the new school year, those of you who might be homeschooling this fall as well. Thanks for joining us on the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.